What is up, Defects? Back for another Market Watch video. Solo video today. Don't worry, the Butcher will be back next week. Short one today, and you know we have to talk about the record-breaking comic book sale. It's all over the news. Your friends are talking about it. So before we get into all that good stuff, hit the thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here, boys and girls. So we had Heritage Auction up for auction, had an Action Comics #1, first appearance of Superman in a CGC 8.5. I think most people knew that this would break the record for comic book sale, which was previously held by a Superman #1 that supposedly sold in a private sale for $5.3 million in 2022. So everybody was thinking this Action Comics 8.5, which was a pedigree comic. We talked a little bit about this comic in an earlier video. If you want to catch that video, click the pop out above. This was a pedigree Kansas City pedigree comic. People thought this book would sell upwards of $7, $8, $9, even $10 million. People that I trust saw this book going for quite a bit more than the $6 million price tag that it went for. Now, that $6 million does include a buyer's premium, which I would say all of the big auction houses do charge. So they end up calling the price of the book the total, not just what it actually sold for, but when they tack on that buyer's premium, that is the final price. So like I said earlier, this copy of Action Comics #1 sold for, in an 8.5 CGC, sold for $6 million. So let me bring that up real quick so we can all see it together. So as you can see there on my screen, there is the listing from Heritage Auction, ended on April 4th for $6 million. And you could see this is a beautiful copy. I know recently we've been talking about some of these books not necessarily being the grade that they are encased with. I would say this is very close to an 8.5. There is a little bit of leeway with Golden Age books. So I think calling this an 8.5 is not egregious at all compared to some of the other books that we've talked about on this channel and even shown you guys specific example as to why we believe that the book was well overgraded. So, talking a little bit more about this book, the $6 million price tag, you would say, Matt, the thumbnail says disappointing price, but a record sale. How are those two things together? Well, I guess the two things can exist at the same time because most people did have this book, like I said, going for a lot more. And we've talked about it on this channel before. We've been covering the Heritage Auction stuff for this whole year and a little bit at the end of last year. And it seems like a ton of large dollar books have been going up. Top of the census or close to the top of the census books have been going up for sale and setting record prices while the rest of the market is going down. And how is that possible? Well, the tinfoil hat, as my buddy Swagglehouse Comics like to say, is strong with a lot of people. They believe that some of these auction houses and sellers are, I don't want to say rigging the auctions, but they're running game on the auctions. Let's put it that way. I don't have an opinion of it one way or another, at least for this video. But it does seem to be a little coincidental that all of these record-breaking sales and top of the census book have sold in the past 5 or 6 months while the rest of the market was going down. We kind of thought it was a phenomenon that, the high-end collectible market was just not being affected by the downturn of the economy and the comic book market. But it looks like maybe it's starting to finally catch up. All right. So before we move forward and show you some other books, put it in the comments down below. Do you think something's fishy going on with some of these sales? Do you believe some of the prices that have been gotten on some of these recent Heritage auctions and Comic Link auctions have been inflated by shill bidders? Because I know a lot of people around the comic book community do believe that to be the case. And if not, tell me why. Tell me why. What's the reasoning behind that you believe, at least? What's the reason behind why all of these record-breaking books have been graded recently. This one is an exception. It has not been graded recently, but graded recently with high grades and then record-breaking sales. Tell me what you think the reason for that is below.
Defects. Looking to clean and press your books before submission? Well, look no further than the best in the business. Erod 212 with Express Comic Book Pressing Service. Defects 10 gets you 10% off. Erod will submit your books to CGC and CBCS and pass along his discount. Hit him up on Instagram or email expresscbp@yahoo.com.
The next book that I wanted to talk about, boys and girls, is a Detective Comics 27, the first appearance of Batman in a CGC Blue Label 3.0. And as you can see there on the screen, it sold for $600,000 with that buyer's premium. The blue labels of the Tech 27s do not change hands too often. The last sale before this of a complete copy in a blue label was in 2022, January, and that sold for, let me just double check that. That sold for, it was a 4.5 and it sold for a 1.14 million in January of 2022. So we have two full grades lower and about a grade and a half lower and about half the price. So is that disappointing? Maybe a little bit, considering that these books don't come up that often. So again, a record sale for this grade, a first sale in a while, but nowhere near that 1.1, almost $1.2 million sale for a 4.5. So again, is the high-end collectible market coming down? Is the money falling out of the hobby from the top end finally? I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Defects, we got another coupon code for you. It is for comicbookexclusives.com. Our buddies over there are dropping fire exclusives each and every month. Go check them out at comicbookexclusives.com and use code DEFECTS for 20% off your order. Make sure you're following them on Instagram as well, because they are showing off all the covers that come out on a weekly, monthly basis. Let them know the Defects sent you. The next book up that I really want to talk about, this was an interesting one to me the last time when we previewed these sales, is A Tales of Suspense 39, the first appearance of Iron Man in a CGC 9.8 blue label. Top of the census, obviously. No 99s on this one yet, guys. This one sold for $840,000. I guesstimated $1 million on this. So this one was pretty close. Not too bad. $1 million this is a record sale. Didn't hit the $1 million, but got very close. I think that's an extremely strong sale for this book. I'm sure a lot of people would have liked to see the mill on this, but we didn't quite make it. Again, tell me below. Too high, too low, or just right? And the last book I want to show was definitely a little bit further down the list, but an interesting story behind it nonetheless. Let me share my screen again. It is a copy of Daredevil #1 in a CGC 9.8. Again, top of the census, blue label, first appearance of Daredevil. Sold for $360,000. People thought this book would sell, again, close to that Iron Man #1 price. I heard a story, can't fully corroborate it. Sorry, I can't speak today. That the owner of this book turned down a private sale of $700,000 not too long ago. So the fact that it sold for roughly half of that is quite staggering, and it makes the point of the market, the high-end market, starting to take a dip. Some of these prices being extremely disappointing, especially in the case of this Daredevil, all the more strong. I don't know, guys. Interesting sales, obviously some record breakers, but nonetheless, some disappointing numbers based on other sales, other record-breaking sales that we've seen in the past few auctions, and just estimates from the majority of the community. So maybe the money's falling out. Maybe the high-end market is finally starting to look more like the regular market. Tell me in the comments below. Tell me what you think. Should we make anything of these couple sales that we saw in this latest Heritage auction? All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. I told you it would be a quick one. Market watch, high-end, millions of dollars being spent. But again, to me and the Pressable Defects over here, Jay, as well, we think that these numbers are slightly disappointing. Of course, you're talking records, but it definitely did not match the trajectory of the high-end market that we've seen over the first few months of 2024. So before you get out of here, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we're putting out new videos. every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then Tuesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we go live on eBay Live for live auctions starting at $1. There is heat going up each and every week. Keys, keys, and keys. That's all I could say. So come join us. It's a blast over there. Even if you're not buying, we always have a good time. The link to our channel on eBay is down below. You could save us as a seller so you know when we're going live, because sometimes we pop up like we did over the weekend live from King Con, sold crazy art. Or you could click the link to the show that's going to be airing tonight if you're watching this on release day. You get a link directly to that stream. All right, boys and girls. So for the Pressable Defects, Matt Forge saying, catch you on the next video.